And I was able to bring one of my girlfriends, my sister, Sassy O'Hara, with me for her first time ever trip to the Hawaiian Islands. So that's what
Right.
prompted the trip. Was my birthday.
Okay. Wonderful. Now, the reason I do the show is because we're here to educate and inspire, and you are a great inspiration in our community, and you're an amazing performer. And I really enjoy talking to you because you inspire me to just be better at this. And the fact that you are always current, you're keeping up with what's going on with the Joneses. And this is a good thing. And I really like the fact that you go out into society like normal, which is something that a lot of our community in general should do. And show the world that we like to vacation. We like nice things. We like nice food. We like to interact. We want to be a part of society and contribute to society, which we do in many ways that they don't give us credit for. But the fact that you are traveling the world as yourself, this is an amazing thing.
Well, for me, I don't have a choice but to be myself, so I travel as I am. Traveling while trans can be daunting at times, depending upon where you are with your transition as far as documents are concerned. Not what you look like physically, but what you have documented. There are those of us who've had their name changes and their gender markers changed, and there are those of us who haven't. So that can be a little daunting when you're traveling while trans, is what I'm going to call it. It's always interesting to go through the scanner at the airport. Sometimes the scanner goes off, sometimes it doesn't. I've even posted on Facebook some funny things that have happened. I was stopped one time by an older Caucasian lady, and she whispered in my ear, "I know why you were stopped." So, of course, panic sets in. And then she goes, "It
Mhm.
must be your time of the month. The scanner can pick up on iron in your blood." I just laughed it off. Another time I went through and they said I had an abnormality in the crotch area and they needed to check it. So, once again, an older, this time Asian lady, she squatted down and she says, "I'm gonna run my hands," they tell you the thing, and she runs her hands across the front of me, and I was traveling au natural, and she decided to push and say, "Well, what is this? What is this?" And I whispered, "Penis." She goes, "No penis. You don't have penis. No lady have penis." And she's just screaming this in front of everybody. I'm just looking like, and I've had other girlfriends explain, the dauntingness that can happen and sometimes the funny things that can occur when traveling while trans. But I would say never let anything deter you from seeing more of the world.
Mhm.
It's
Now,
ours to explore.
what I like about it, when I was watching you and you were showing a lot of the spots that you guys were going about, the your lunches or brunches, and the fact that you were actually in the ocean as a trans woman, in a swimsuit as a trans woman, and no one looking at you twice was something quite interesting. And I watched the surroundings, and I think that that is part of it. The fact that you were living normal, so people didn't see that, that difference that you would, like you said, sometimes see depending on what stage of transition most trans women are in.
And
And
I will say this, I got complimented multiple times on my swimsuit selection by women, which is always great, women upholding women. And a
mhm,
few men commented as well, which is to be expected. I'm kind of bodacious in the body. But I think what people see, especially when they look at me, I think they just see my comfortability. So they don't think anything out of the way. I know there's a great portion of trans women who like to live the stealth life. I just live the
mhm,
life that I have. And I think when I present myself in public, no makeup, no nothing, people look at me and they see auntie, grandmother, mother. So I think
mhm.
people look at me and don't give me a second glance. Whereas I
Well,
think sometimes some of my other sisters, be them younger or older, I think they put so much effort into their meticulous makeup and meticulous hair, that sometimes people look at them and think, wait a minute, they take that second look and then they start noticing things. Oh, that's a tall lady. Oh,
Mhm.
you've got high big breasts. They must be, implanted. Her, this looks this, that looks that, and then they start to figure things out. Whereas I think
Mhm.
I'm more of a plain Jane, so I just kind of float through society.
That's what I like about being me, because when I'm not all done up, I like the fact that I can melt into society
Well,
and
I
just
like how
live.
you look today for sure. You look like someone's auntie today for sure. So,
Oh, well, look at this here. Oh, I tried to do it. She told me to try to keep it down, try not to do the drag thing, which I'm used to. I want the girls to understand that I've been around this for 36 years. So I
uh,
understand that you have to relate to the women that you are talking to. They
mm,
need to see somebody looking back at them that looks like them or resembles them or acts like them. That way they can be comfortable to do what they do,
and
to
I
be
think
who
that's
they
the
are.
important. And that's the importance of your doing interviews and shows like this, because oftentimes trans women were portrayed in the media one way. And I think that's why we often get approached in a sexual connotation because we're over sexualized in the media. Some
Mhm.
guys will say, when you come over, you're going to be dressed. I'm like, dressed as what? I mean, it's not Halloween. What are you asking about? You know, they're like, were you going to be dressed as a woman? I'm like, well, I live my life every day as one. So what? And then I realized it's not a connection for me because they're looking for a fantasy version. They're looking for the porn version of a trans woman. They want the long
Mhm.
painted nails, the hair, the makeup, the tight costume, the corseted waist. And that's not what I'm giving. That's not who I am. That's a
Mhm.
fantasy that I can create on stage for you, but it doesn't follow
Mhm.
me off.
Mhm. Well, I like the fact that you're just so open and honest. That's why I love talking to you, because you just make sense. And it's something that a lot of trans women should learn how to live their life a lot like the way you do yours. And the
I
fact
think
that
it comes I think it comes from I'm sorry, I think it comes from an expectation. I think that some trans women think that people expect something from them versus just being who and what they are. As a person of
Mhm.
color, representing, Black American women, I know sometimes people turn heads when they see Black women in makeup because it's not customary to see Black women in a full beat. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Mhm.
and when you present that, you might get some looks. But I don't think that we owe the world anything other than who we are honestly and at our core. So I'm always going to stay true to myself and be my plain ordinary self.
Mhm. I find it rather strange. I have a conversation coming up with a bunch of Black ladies in a few weeks here. And I said something in the interview about the fact that Black women have always not really like Black trans women. But today's society, they're trying to look like drag queens or trans women with the eyelashes, the BBLs, the outrageous clothes. And then they don't want men to call them drag queens. But now they're looking a lot like drag queens or trans women that would be performing.
And that's the truth. I've had this conversation with multiple girlfriends. There was a time that we wanted to emulate looking like, our beautiful sisters. And now it's like they're wanting more to look like us. I think because of the way that some trans women are exalted and put in a certain pedestal, that it's the look is what's desired. They want to have the look, but they don't want to have the life. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I've seen women be insulted that someone thought they were trans, and I've seen women feel, like I don't know the word I'm looking for, but they would feel like, oh my God, you thought I was trans? I look that pretty that you thought I could be a trans woman? So it comes
Mhm.
in both hands. I think there's always going to be a disconnect. Well, not always, but I think there's often a disconnect because people don't know how to express themselves. And when I've had the opportunity to speak with Black women, um, I often said, no one's trying to, because I think people think that we're trying to compete with women for mates, spouses, whatever. And
Mhm.
to me or for me, a man who wants to be with a trans woman wants to be with a trans woman. He can be
Mhm.
attracted to women in general, but he wants to be with a trans woman for a particular reason. And so we're not um, battling you out for men. We're not, in competition, in my opinion. I often like to tell Black women, I admire you so much that I became you. So
Mhm.
I'm here to be in the fight with you. You know, um, a lot of people would say that in the hierarchy of the human race, the Black woman's, the Black woman's on the bottom of the pile. So why would
Mhm.
I make the choice to move myself to the bottom of the pile? And the reason I say I do make that choice is because I know I want to be strong enough with the being on this planet that supports everything else. And that's the Black,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
strongest person I've ever known in my